So I'm walking down this beautiful hallway. The walls are painted like a light gray, almost like a darker silver. And there's pictures lining the walls going down the hallway of, it looks like, family members, friends, loved ones, and they're all having a great time in these pictures. It just looks really, really cool. The floors are amazing. Hell, even the ceiling looks nice. This is an amazing house. And I'm just now starting to get to see the whole thing. Now, Carol stops me. She said, the first room I want to show you, Lorenzo, is I want to show you my son Max's room. He's 16. He's an athlete and he works out a lot, but I've been working with him about making sure he keeps his room clean. And he's done a pretty good job, so I would love to show you his room. I said, Carol, I appreciate it, but I don't feel comfortable going into your son's room. He's not here. You know, I'm sure he has things going on. I just don't want to go in there. She said, Lorenzo, stop. I gotta show you this. He would definitely appreciate you going into his room. And we head on in. Now I know you have about 10 more minutes to spare. And I promise you, the dots will gradually start to connect if you give me those 10 minutes. My name's Lorenzo. Welcome to Handles. Everyone has a grip on life. Everybody feels like they have a handle. Afraid to share the mistakes. The stories are what connect us. They're the key. We're running out of time. So a friend of mine picks me up for lunch. I'm at work and I got about an hour and 15 minutes to spare. And he says, hey, look, I want to come pick you up for lunch, take you out. We haven't really caught up in a while. I said, cool. I've known John for a few years and we met because he came to speak at one of my classes and he's a counselor. So he was able to kind of shed some light on some things. And I've always been interested in that side of life. So we just kind of connected and stayed in touch. I get in the car and I gotta tell you, I'm having the worst day. Like everything that can go wrong has. Like the car is acting up, I'm overdressed, there's all type of customer issues going on in the store. There's just things that I just can't seem to get away from. Found out that my grades are slipping. I mean, you name it, I found it all out on this specific day. So I get into the car and I'm telling John how bad my day is. And he's just listening to it. And so I stop, I said, man, where do you want to go eat at? And he says, well, I'm not sure yet, but I got to make one stop before we go. So we pull up at this house and this house looks amazing from outside. Even the ground looks good. Like the grass, the bushes, the trees, everything looks so nicely trimmed. And I'm like, John, who lives here? And he looks at me and says, a friend of mine named Carol. And I just haven't caught up with her in a while, and I told her I'd stop by and see her today. So we go up, ring the doorbell, and this woman opens up the door. Looks like she has nothing but life inside of her. She is just full of smiles, happy to see John. They exchange pleasantries, hug. John introduces me. I tell her, hey, I'm Lorenzo. I'm sorry for, barging in. I'm just kind of rolling with John today. She says, not a problem. You guys come on in. I was just making lunch. So I step into the house, and as soon as I step into the house, you know those homes that look so nice that you don't know if you should leave your shoes on or not? Even if they tell you that you don't have to take them on, you're still considering doing so? But at this moment, I decided to keep mine on because, like I told you, I'd been at work. And the last thing I need to do is give Carol the first powerhouse impression that I have really bad smelling feet. Wasn't gonna do it. We go into the kitchen. And I'm looking inside this house as we go into the kitchen and it looks amazing. And John and Carol are just over there talking and catching up on things. And I cannot stop looking at everything that's going on in this house. The kitchen is beautiful, beautiful marble cabinets or countertop. And the island is so big it can challenge Hawaii in its size. I can't even find the refrigerator. Why? Because the refrigerator looks like the cabinets. It has a handle on the side. The cabinets are all white and beautiful, just plush. Everything is just amazing. Now I have to stop you here. One other thing that I probably haven't told you guys up to this point, if you followed me, I've told you a lot of things. But one thing that I am is I am a huge HGTV fan. I love to look at homes. I love to just see what different people do in their spaces that they consider being their house. It allows me to kind of create my own ideas as to what I would consider being my own dream house. So I pick little things that I see others doing and I add it to like different notes. So one day if I'm able to get this dream house that I would love to have, I'm gonna make sure I embrace and or implement those specific pieces. Pretty simple, right? So I take out my cell phone and I'm just taking notes on things that I see that I want to make sure to add to my dream house one day. I mean, she has 2 flat screen TVs in the kitchen. Now either she's in the kitchen a lot or they just really like being entertained. But nevertheless, she stops me. She says, "Hey, Lorenzo, are you hungry? I'm making lunch, for my family. And if you'd like to, I can make you some as well." I said, "No, I appreciate it. But me and John, we're supposed to go get lunch in a little bit. So don't worry about it." I said, "But I got to tell you, Carol, and I don't mean to overstep. Your home looks amazing." She said, "You like it?" I said, "I love it." So she begins to tell me about her family. She has a 10-year-old son, a 16-year-old son, sophomore in high school, a fantastic husband. They've been married over 20-something years, who has a nice green thumb, which explains why everything looked good on the front patio and in the front of the house, right? So I'm just sitting there listening to her. And someone that's so proud of something that they can't stop smiling when they're telling you, almost to the point that they want to over-explain things to you. Well, that was Carol, right? But I could tell she was full of life and I was enjoying it. And at the moment, it was taking the fact that I had a bad day off my mind. So I was good with it. She says, "Well, how about I give you like a 10 to 15 minute just tour?" John immediately says, no, we can't do that. We don't have that kind of time. But Carol says, "Look, I insist. Let me just give him a short tour and we'll come back. I'll finish up lunch. And if you guys would like to eat lunch, we can. If not, I'll send you on your way." So Carol starts to take me down this hallway. And if I remember correctly, you're now caught up. So we go into her son's room. He's 16 years old, athlete like we talked about before, and the room is immaculate. Beautiful. Nothing on the floor, nice TV, bed made, closet looks perfect, beautiful large windows. Amazing. I turn and I look at Carol and I say, "Congratulations. Clearly whatever you've done with your oldest has worked." She smiles, very proud about it. We walk out, we go into her other son's room. 10 years old, another athlete, enjoying life. You can tell he has a few more trinkets in there, but everything looks perfect. Can't beat it. She then takes me into a few of the bathrooms, which look amazing. She takes me into the master bedroom, which is huge. High ceilings, amazing, and even takes me into that bathroom, which was the first time I got a chance to see a bidet, mind you, which, not sure I want that in my dream house. After that, she shows me a little bit of the dining room spaces, the living room, and if you're like me, you probably grew up in a sense of knowing someone that had a dining room and a living room very separate, but it was very clear that you're able to go into the living room, but don't touch that damn dining room. Not in Carol's house. Beautiful dining room table. It looked like it came out of a movie, maybe a sitcom or something like Succession. Beautiful table. Everything spread out real nice and neat. And she says, "How about the backyard, Lorenzo?" I said, "How about it, Carol?" We go in the backyard, bushes, everything looks beautiful landscaping wise as we talked about. Her husband keeps that up. He's the green thumb. She has a beautiful pool out back, and she just started throwing in some of the little floaties she had sitting on the rim of the pool, because she said her sons like to hop in when they get out of school, spend a little time out there. So I'm looking at all the notes I've put into my phone, and it comes to me that this is probably close to what my dream house would look like. And I'm getting a full tour. I mean, it's gonna be like deja vu. I might as well get a little bit more money behind me and ask Carol if I can buy her house, because this is exactly what it would look like. So we get done with the tour, we head back into the kitchen. I'm all smiles. Carol and I are catching up on different things. She's telling me some extras about the family and stuff. So we get in there and John says, "Hey, look, Carol, we would love to stay, but we have to go. Like we can't. We have to go get lunch and I have to take Lorenzo back to work." So Carol says, "Okay, I understand. Here, take a little bit of these sandwiches to go, just in case you can have them for snack. And I hope to see you guys very soon. And Lorenzo, you're welcome anytime." And I am just blown away. At this point, I'm hugging Carol. Just met the lady. hugging the shit out of Carol, right? I have notes full in my phone. She's invited me back. I'd love to meet her kids, love to meet her husband, like how he keeps the grass and stuff like this. Man, this lady is on top of it. So John and I get back in the car and we start driving off, and I am just raving about Carol. Oh, you know those people you meet that just make an immediate impression on you, that you can't forget them? It's Carol. So we're driving down the road and I'm just ranting about Carol, right? You have to understand, here's a woman that's maybe in her early to mid 60s, extremely convivial, very unstinting, very thoughtful, everything you can possibly ask for. This woman has it, and I am blown away. So we stop at a stoplight, and I turn and I ask John, I said, John, you never told me how you and Carol met. Like, where did you guys meet at? And he looks at me, he says, well, I'll tell you a quick story. He said sometime back, a few years back, Carol and her family went on a vacation. Now, Carol went ahead of the family to this vacation spot because she wanted to make sure all the accommodations were taken care of accordingly. And she's making sure the hotel arrangements and everything is set out. Everything looks good. The rest of the family would arrive the next day. So, of course, the day comes, Carol heads over to the airport just to kind of pick them up, so at least it'll be kind of smooth transition for them. She realizes the plane isn't there. It's a little bit late. Time goes on, still late. So she goes in and she asks someone from the airport, you know, what's going on? Her family's supposed to be here at this time and hasn't shown up. The specific airport attendant pulls an office and says, hey, we lost track of that specific plane about 3 hours ago, and we fear the worst. So John goes on to tell me that the family never makes it. The plane crashes somewhere in the ocean. Everyone on board presumed dead. So I'm confused at this point. So I asked John, who was all on board? He says her 2 sons and her husband. I said, so I want to make sure I understand this, John. You're telling me that her family, the people that she just explained to me, told me all about, rooms and everything, are deceased. And John said, yes, sir. So it hits me. Carol and John didn't just meet by chance. Carol was John's patient at one point. So John goes on to tell me that Carol had such a devastating psychological and emotional trauma from that event that she's not been able to move on. You see, mentally, Carol has decided that she refuses to embrace the fact that her family cannot move on with her. So she's decided not to move on without them. She's living life every day as if they're still there. She makes the meals every day. She helps clean up the room every day. She takes care of the yard, still throws out specific activities in the pool. She's living life as if nothing ever changed. So at this point, all I can think about is this individual who is full of life, full of excitement, full of love, opens up her home to anyone, is going through more emotional and psychological trauma than the average person in the world, and you would never know it. You see, there's 2 things I hope you take away from this. The first thing is, whatever you consider being a bad day, I can almost promise you, percentage-wise, your bad days added up will never compare to Carol's bad day, ever. So be very happy with what you consider being a bad day. The second thing is, similar to life, it doesn't matter how you decorate, stage, furnish, embellish your dream home. It still means nothing without the people most important to you occupying that space. Thanks for hanging with me in another episode of Handles. I sure hope this added value to you. If so, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so you're alerted anytime new material comes out, and don't forget to share this story with the people you know need to hear it. If you want more Handles, you can definitely follow me on social media, and you can follow me on my website. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time, right here on Handles.